Over the last 2 decades in the financial industry, I've had the privilege of working with clients through all stages of retirement. Everyone from the early retirees in their 50s through my oldest client who reached the age of 112. And what I find really fascinating is the stories that have stayed with me over the years and keep me up at night or that I think about in the car. They almost never have anything to do with actual financial planning. It's never about investment performance or tax rates or inflation or headlines, but it's about stories and lessons my clients have shared with me that they wish they would have done a little bit differently if they could rewind the hands of time. I'm Brennan, owner of Decima Wealth Consulting and certified financial planner. And this video has absolutely nothing to do with my normal content on estate planning or retirement planning or tax reduction. But I'm just going to dive into some of the stories that have stayed with me over the years and some of the lessons that I've taken from my clients along the way. In my book, I talk a lot about the importance of physical activity and taking care of our health in retirement. And the reason for that is if our health isn't there, it is really tough to spend our time doing the activities that bring us joy if we're not capable of doing them, right? So the earlier we prioritize taking care of our body, being active, being healthy, the longer and more fulfilling our retirement should be. And a client of mine named Jerry really hammered this home for me because Jerry worked really hard, was very successful, and financially he had everything he needed for a fantastic retirement. And Jerry's goal at retirement was to go visit Japan and explore Japan when he retired. And initially the trip got pushed back because Jerry was having knee pain. And then it got pushed back again because Jerry needed knee surgery. And then it got pushed back again because the recovery from the knee surgery wasn't going as planned. And then Jerry just pushed it off the list. Unfortunately, he never went to Japan. And Jerry shared with me, the one thing I really wished I would have focused on earlier was prioritizing my body, my diet, and going to the gym. And eventually it becomes too late. And it may not be financial that causes you not to enjoy retirement. It may be because of a physical limitation. So 2 takeaways here. 1, the earlier we take care of ourselves, the better. But 2, if we're in a position to enjoy the experiences and take the trip, consider taking it while you still can, because eventually you may not be able to, and it might not be financially related. The second lesson is to make sure we're not necessarily running from something, but we're running to something. And I see this all the time. I work with a lot of executives that after 35 years of using their skills and achieving goals and accomplishing tasks, they celebrate with retirement, they go to the beach, they go golfing, they're relaxing, it's well-deserved, and then all of a sudden they feel lost, they tell me that they're drifting, and they just don't know how to spend their day. So in my book, I share that it is incredibly important to find activities that provide you with purpose and fulfillment and give you an outlet for skills. And that doesn't mean you need to go get another job, but that is something that a lot of people report satisfaction with. It's how do you contribute in a meaningful way where your day brings you purpose, whether it's volunteering or helping out with other family or helping out friends, but something you can do that makes your brain work often leads to a much more satisfying day-to-day in retirement. Now, the third one can be really challenging for a lot of people, and it is the importance of investing in building social connections and relationships in retirement. And I get it. It is hard to make friends as we age. We're not in school all day, every day with our friends like we were when we were kids. My son can make friends effortlessly. But even when we have a career, we're constantly with our coworkers, and it gives us that natural connection that humans crave. And then all of a sudden we retire, and some people have done a great job not letting relationships fall by the wayside. But the lesson that my clients share with me is they wish that they would have invested as much or more time in their friendships and their families and the events that were important to those people as they did with their careers. So Sometimes the people with the most money on the balance sheet are not necessarily the wealthiest or most successful in retirement. I've worked with clients that have had $10 million that are absolutely miserable. They're all by themselves. They don't have social groups. They're constantly just feeling lonely. And then I've had other clients that have much, much less money, but they're just the happiest, friendliest people you'll ever meet. And they're constantly telling me about events they're doing with their neighbors and their friends and their family and their kids. So studies have shown this time and time again. The groups that really foster high quality relationships with friends and family report higher levels of happiness, but they also live longer. So it is incredibly important to not let relationships fall by the wayside. Invest time and energy building those social connections as early as you possibly can to keep that quality of life going as long as possible. All right, the fourth lesson is to prioritize quality experiences over things when you have the chance. And that doesn't mean don't buy nice things, but if it is one or the other, the experience is going to stick with you and you're going to get much more bang for your buck over a longer period of time. And what I mean by that is the joy of buying a thing fades much quicker than the memory of an experience. And I had a client that when he retired, he really wanted to travel, but he really wanted to get a nice car. So he opted out of the traveling, bought a new Corvette, and he was thrilled. But that thrill wore off. You know, the next time I saw him and I asked him how the car was going, what speed did he get up to, he was really candid with me. And he said, "Hey, Brennan, I rarely drive it. I'm afraid to put miles on it because if I need to resell it, I don't want it to depreciate. And if I do drive it, I never go anywhere because I have to park in the back of the parking lot because I don't want my doors dinged and I'm drenched in sweat by the time I make its way into the building. Really wish I didn't buy it," right? And that's not the case with every car, right? But the car took over his vacation budget. Now, I had another client that spent probably the equivalent of a Corvette budget on taking his family to Tanzania. He took 14 family members to Tanzania. This was a couple years ago. He still talks about that trip almost every meeting. He's still sharing memories of those pictures on his social media. And when I talk to a lot of clients in their 80s, 90s, and 100, I can count on one hand the number of times where they're telling old stories and it's about an item they purchased. It's almost always about family trips or family events or big experiences that they've had in their life. And what that says to me is there is much more bang for your buck to spend your money on quality experiences than on items where the value and the joy fades over time. All right, and the fifth lesson is to enjoy and celebrate the milestones, but make it a point to also enjoy the journey along the way. And when I was climbing in the Himalayas, I trained for months, and I was over there for 6 weeks, and every day climbing 6 to 8 hours. But then when I finally made it to the summit and I'm looking out on the sunrise and I'm just so emotional and I'm crying, that moment only lasted a couple minutes. And I remember thinking, what next, right? And that was all of a sudden a very heavy feeling. And then it hit me. The joy of the summit had nothing to do with the actual moment. Sure, I celebrated that. It was a big achievement. But the joy came from every day leading up to that moment and every day that came after. And retirement is very similar. We want to celebrate the milestones and the moments in retirement, but we don't need to wait for those to make every day in retirement count. We should enjoy each and every day while it is presented to us. Give yourself permission to spend. Give yourself permission to travel. You don't need to wait for a milestone to book the trip, to go visit family, to join a club, right? Take advantage each and every day and enjoy the moment, but celebrate the milestones and the wins when they come. As a financial planner, I spend most of my day putting together plans and helping people achieve the goals and dreams of their next chapter in retirement. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the financial piece of retirement doesn't matter. But when I talk to people late in life that are sharing what counts, there is a consistent theme. It's about taking care of our body and staying healthy as long as we can. It's about finding purpose and fulfillment in our daily activities. It's about filling our days with people we care about and finding connection, and spending money on experiences that give us a quality and a thrill in life, not just on things. And most importantly, it's about enjoying each moment, not constantly waiting for the next thing to say we're happy or that we've achieved something. I'm Brennan Decima. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, where I will talk about financial planning, estate planning, retirement planning. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider sharing and subscribing. I hope you have a great day.